Sound, we're in.
Adam.
Yo.
Welcome to the podcast.
Jamie, thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Another like-minded individual on the podcast now.
Yeah, we're going to talk some cars, I guess.
We're going to talk cars. We're going to talk the scene. We're just going to talk rubbish, bro.
Brilliant. That's what I am absolutely best at. If you could have a job of just talking shit, am I allowed to swear?
Bro, shit, bollocks.
Cool. Good, because I have got the horrible Essex lingo, so unfortunately it's just in my dialect.
Wicked. I want to introduce you properly. You are a automotive YouTuber.
Yeah.
Businessman also, and a car nut at heart.
Massive,
right?
man. Obsessive. It's like it's this problem, you know.
Bro,
It's a problem.
It's a disease.
Yeah, it is. I blame my mum.
Your mum?
Yeah, so my mum started it. My dad just carried it on.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but when I was like a proper baby, in a buggy and that, my mum used to walk me down to the local market, and every weekend I'd get a Hot Wheels car.
Okay.
So you can't just do that to a child. Like I'm expecting it. I'm 31 now. I expect to buy a car every weekend now. I've just got to get a new car because it's just how it gets. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, so that's cool. Actually, you started exactly where I like to start it because I'm
a fan of your podcast, dude. I know how you do these.
See, we haven't even been going long, but you're listening. I like that. I respect that, bro. Man. Thank you very much. So yeah, man, let's take it back to the beginning. I mean, you're already off to a good start with it. So your love of cars basically came from your mum.
I think I don't think she meant to start it off. I think it was just an easy way to keep me quiet. Do you know what I mean? Like I just give him a Hot Wheels, he'll go play with it and whatever. And then as I grew up a little bit more, like cars were my absolute.
What was the trigger? Do you feel like it was the Hot Wheels?
I think it has to be. Like just I used to have one of those car floor mats.
I've got a mate, right? In fact, we don't really speak no more, but he literally had that car floor mat until he was like 19.
Really?
Because I think just at the transition point of about like when you turn into a teenager, right? So at about 11,
yeah.
His mum basically said, right, we need new carpet. And he was like, I want that carpet. And she's like, look, right? She goes, I don't think you're going to want this carpet in a couple of years. And when you're a kid, tunnel vision.
Bro, I had a bright yellow bedroom, dude. I wanted a bright yellow bedroom when I was about 10. And my mum was like, you're not going to want it when you grow up. I was like, I want a bright yellow. Yellow is my colour. I want yellow to be my bedroom. And I come home from, I think I was on holiday with my dad. Me and him just went out to Los Angeles because I've got family out there. So lucky enough to have the excuse to go over there quite a lot. And, I come home one time, my room was bright yellow. Mum was like, well, you said you wanted it bright yellow, so it's bright yellow now.
Done that to you.
Yeah, and then as I was like growing up and having girls around us, I was like, I wish my room went bright yellow.
Bro, that's the thing. Like these 19 years old, bro. That's well into the girl stage. The girls coming. He had to make up the excuse. I don't even know what the excuse was. Maybe you said it was his little brother's room or something like that. But I'm well familiar with the car carpet. Like,
yeah.
Sorry for butting in.
No. That's what podcast is, man. So it's a conversation, So yeah, I had that, and then my dad was. It just so happened that my dad was buying at the time when I was born. My dad started his business, and he obviously needed some fleet cars and vans and stuff. So he went to the local Honda dealership and become quite friendly with them because of the amount of cars he was having and stuff. And I just kept going with him. And this was like when the NSX was a thing, EG Civics was a thing, and then it became the EK. So it was, and the Prelude, and it's all these cars that just when you look at them now, you're like, we don't get cars that look like this anymore. They were all. You knew what a Civic looked different to but now you've got like the Honda Jazz and the Civic, and like I know they all look different, but they don't really appeal to me much anymore.
A lot of them share the same chassis, you know what I mean? It's just it looks like the same thing.
Cars had their character, they had their individualism, and I used to pick up. I would need to go through my parents' loft because I am sure I've got Honda brochures from back then, all in the loft still, unless they've thrown them away. But I would love to know if I've got the NSX ones and stuff, because I know I had them as a kid.
Worth some money now, bro.
Yeah. So even if they're not, it's just a cool thing to have. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And someone might want it for their car. They might have just bought their NSX and want one of the brochures. I remember when I bought a Honda Legend like a few years back. And I slammed it and did all this gangster stuff. It was sick, mate. This car was so cool. But I went on eBay and I was just like, I wonder what Honda Legend stuff is. And they had like the brochure and stuff for Honda Legend. I was like, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. Just because it's cool for me to have it.
You go to a meet, you can just throw that in there on the top of the dashboard of that. Like, just let people know you're serious.
Yeah. So I think that's where the car thing come from. And growing up, I was the youngest in my year. And I was like developing later than everybody else. So I think I weren't really like, I wasn't cool, I wasn't popular, and I kind of found my solace in cars, and that was just kind of like where I kind of just found my comfort as a youngster. It was in knowing everything about every car.
Oh, so you like the factual guy?
Yeah, so I was a bit anxious and I was a bit not weird. I was just very, is it introverted? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Where you're not that social, and I was just I just felt like everybody hated me. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to kind of be myself, be on my own and that. And I never really wanted to be questioned about anything either. I just kind of just wanted to be left alone. So I never really had fast car and max power until I was growing up a little bit later, because I didn't want my parents to see the titties and then be like, what are the titties all about? You know what I mean? So I'd be like, I just buy magazine. The magazine I used to get all the time was Top Marks. So it was just like Auto Trader, but for like more fancy cars. So I could, like, back in the day, I could tell you what air conditioning model, like Porsche 911s come with aircon and didn't. Do you know what I mean? It was that kind of stuff.
So you were like that.
Yeah, well into it.
My thing was like the 0 to 60s and the top speed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It. Like I was kind of like, so like getting into cars, I actually spoke about this with another guest, but I mean, I had car books.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I think I got them for like Christmas and
Yeah. I probably had the same sort of things. Yeah.
Do you know, like
world's fastest cars and Top Gear's worst cars and all that sort of stuff.
Do you know, like content is just like a dime a dozen now.
Yeah,
Back in the day, bro, there was probably like 3 car books.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I think I remember this. Specifically remember this. Top Gear classed the 3000 GT Mitsubishi as one of the worst cars ever, and that has never shook from my head. Like, never shook out. Like, so I see one now, I'm like, yeah, Top Gear, I think they're crap. Do you know what I mean? It's just like ingrained.
Do you know what? It's really interesting you say that, because this is something that's buzzed around in my head for a while, and people probably know that, you know, when it comes to Top Gear, there's never, and I still even think to this day, been another car program that can get close to it, and its influence on the car market is so strong that if Jeremy Clarkson says, that car's rubbish, they're losing sales, bro.
I've got one. I worked as a salesman at Honda as my first job. I dropped out of college to go and do this because all I wanted to do was work around Hondas. That's where I did my work experience. Hondas were my thing because I grew up with my dad around them and that. And I got took out on my work experience in an S2000, first ever experience of VTEC when I was 15. And I was like, I literally remember going home and that's all I thought about all day was what that car did to my head. I was like, oh my God, that was insane. And I went home with my dad and I was like, you need to sell your car. He had a CLK 430 at the time. Yeah, I was like, you need to get rid of that car and go buy a Honda S2000 because that is the best car I've ever been in. It's like a Formula 1 car for the road. That's what I was saying. It's like a Formula 1 car. It's like a Formula 1 car. The noise and that was what, like, and then when we were at work, I went and got a job at that same dealership. They offered me a trainee sales place and I was like, yeah, I'll have it. And I left college that day. I've got a kind of, I won't go. I'll tell this story to you off camera. But basically, when they offered me the job, I basically just left college that second. Like, I just kind of got up and like, I was like, yeah, cool. I answered the phone. I got out and left.
But you know what? That, to me, that says you're a true car. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, You're like, I don't mind about. I don't want to studies. I just want to be around your
cars.
passion. Bro.
Yeah.
And going back to the S2000 really quick, you're so right. My best friend's uncle, right? Shout out to Glenn. He basically used to be. In fact, I think he still is. He's one of those guys who stayed in his job forever. The manager of a Honda dealership, and he brought back the S2000 when it was like fresh. And I remember reading about the car in books and everything, and it was like the pinnacle at that time. I can't remember what it was about it. It's basically, I think it was
the 9k rev limit and just
9k rev limit.
Oh my God! And the digital dash and just
bro,
everything about that car. Even now, when I see an S2000, I go, I'm gonna buy one of them one day.
They're a timeless car.
Timeless. They look amazing. I think you could. There's certain cars that are super cool when they're brand new, or they're super cool for like a 2 or 3 year period after they've kind of worn out. Does that make sense? And like, but with the S2000, it was cool when it was new. It was cool when it was 10 years old, and it's going to be cool in 30 years, 40 years. It's always going to be a car that...
I feel like it's perhaps now even cooler because they don't make them.
No, like and they've not made anything like it since. It's been one of those cars where it's just like, Honda just kind of threw it out there and go, look what we can do. And we're not going to do it again, but look what we could do. Do you know what I mean?
Mad. So it is mad. And you know what? Like, I'm speaking to a fellow Honda man.
Yeah, proper.
And you know what? Like, you've come up on Hondas, and I haven't pretty much. I come up on... You know, let's get the most we can. Let's look like I'm in the most expensive car I can for the money. Yeah. So it was like, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who just want to do it. So
of course.
At first, in fact, I've went through In fact, I'm talking rubbish. I've went through dips. I'm going to talk to you about that. But first, I want to know what your first car. I'm guessing.
Okay, we're going to go back a little bit more.
Okay.
Just to the Top Gear thing. So Jeremy Clarkson, I was working at Honda, and we were all super excited for the FN2 Type R coming out because we were like, "There's a new Type R. The EP3 sold so well, and we're so excited, and this thing looks so different." And then we were all like, "Yeah, Jeremy Clarkson's reviewing it on Top Gear. That's going to come out. He's going to love it, and then we're going to sell fucking loads." And then literally, Jeremy Clarkson was like, "This is the worst car ever."
It was a shit.
And we went in the next day. The meeting was just like, we need damage. Like, Honda needs some form of damage control right now because this is fucked. Like, how the fuck are we going to sell these?
Bro, you're so right in saying that. And do you know what, right? Everyone you ask to this day will still tell you an FN2 is shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And all right, there is some argument for why it's worse than the EP3. I get that, right? But I've actually driven a couple of FN2s, boosted FN2s, stripped out, bro. There's nothing wrong with them.
I had an FM1, the 1.8 one, because I couldn't insure a Type R back in the day. Like back in the day, you young guys that can get Golf R's at 18.
How they doing it, bro?
Bro, they come on my meat in like that car that you've got. What is that? Seat Cupra?
I got the Cupra.
FR, right?
Seat Leon Cupra. No, just a Cupra.
Oh, it's just a Cupra,
I used
right?
to call them Cupra R's, but that's the
old
previous
ones,
model.
right? Yeah, so like that sort of stuff. These young lads would be coming to these meets, and I'll be like, bro, when I was your age, I had an EP2, and that was the limit of what I could insure.
Exactly.
Like,
I probably had like 70 brake.
110 EP.
110.
Mate, I had 110 horsepower, mate.
Bro,
I
back then
that was
you were the man. Back then, 110 brake horsepower.
Until a 1.4 EJ9 overtakes you, and you're like, oh man, that car's fast. It's got a 1.4 engine. What's going on? I got a 1.6. I got a bigger engine. You know, it was like that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
But yeah, sorry, what were you saying about?
Yeah, so I was basically, I'm just going to get out the first car. I'm assuming right now it's going to be a Honda.
My first ever actual car, I had a field car.
You had
I had a field car.
Like DMO.
Yeah, I heard that on your podcast, and I literally was like, yes, I had one too. I had a 1.4 Escort GL Gear in maroon 4-door. And
okay.
I reckon now it'd be worth some money, man. But I paid 250 quid for it from my local roundabout. It was like parked on the roundabout. And I was 14, and I basically remember seeing it, and I said to my parents, because I worked at a pub. I've always worked. My dad's quite a successful man in his own right, but he's drilled it into me that if you want your own stuff, you earn your own money. So at like 13, I was peeling potatoes in the pub kitchen. And it was just what I did. And I come home stinking. It made me feel sick. I hated it. I always used to remember, like, every time I come home, my coat had to go in the wash. And I was like, I fucking hate this job. But then I'd have some money. Do you know what I mean? It was always like, I've got a bit of money. It's cool. Like, whatever. And I remember we were driving home one day. I can't remember where from, but my mum was driving me home, and I see this Ford, and I was like, stop. I was like, it's for sale. I want to see how much it is. And she was like, you're not buying a car. I was like, I've got some money now. If I'm buying a car.
You were 15 at this point?
14.
14?
Yeah, 14. If I'm buying a car, I'm buying a car. And she was like, well, I'm not driving it home. I was like, all right. So I went home. We saw the car. It's 250 quid. I went home, rang my granddad. I was like, can you meet me at the bottom of the hill? Because we all live in the same village. And he was like, yeah, boy, why? I was like, I'm buying a car. And he was like, what? I was like, I need you to drive it home for me. He was like, why are you buying a car? I was like, I just want to learn to drive. Because I just always wanted to drive, you know? And like, we had this bit of land, and I used to like do front wheel drifting in it. So
front wheel drifting?
So what I'd do is
Explain
I'd go as fast as I could through this gate. And as soon as I get to this gate post, I yank the handbrake and switch it. And I just yank the handbrake, and I'd be controlling it with the handbrake.
You can get them going though, can't you?
On the grass as well. My God, these things will go for ages. And my mum has horses, so she's got them horse jumps. So I'd steal the end of a horse jump, and I'd put that as my clipping point. And this was before I even knew drifting was a thing. Like, do you know what I mean? I was just like, I'm going to slide this car from there to there. I think that's why when I eventually did step into drifting, I kind of gelled with it so well, because I was just, it took me back to being 14 in the fields, but now I'm in like XXX horsepower Sylvia's. Like, this is insane. Like, we can get away with this. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
For real. And so
my first car on the road.
Oh, hang on. In fact, so what happened to this field car? Because it usually
just died.
end badly.
Yeah. No. My brother ended up getting one as well. But so my granddad had a 205. And he used to buy like £100 cars, and he'd use them for a year, and then he'd throw them away. And that's what he'd do. It was cheaper for him to buy a £100 car than keep a car going for an MOT.
Makes sense. And
this was back when you could buy cars for 100 quid and they were okay, you know, that sort of thing. And so my brother got this 205, but then my granddad had another car. I can't remember. I think it was an Escort, maybe, like an old shitty Escort, like the bubble shaped one.
Okay, yeah.
And because he ended up buying a nice one of those, so he was like, "Well, this old one, your brother can have it." So I was in the 205 because I loved my Escort, but I think the engine just fried itself on that. Because I'd probably drive. I was 14. I wasn't checking oil or anything. Exactly. I was just fucking sending it. Like, that was all that thing was to me, was just this like maroon send machine, and I loved it. And I look back now. I do look back now, and I'm like, man, I wish I'd looked after that. Like, because you can't guess what cars are going to be worth money or not, you know. But my brothers, we nearly rolled one on a jump we built.
A jump?
Yeah. And it was
You're building jumps for the cars, yeah?
Yeah, but mate, we were doing Jackass before Jackass was on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think this is why I'm still a little bit tapped. Why I never really grew up. You know what I mean? Like, I've been quite lucky. I feel very lucky having my dad as my mentor in business, because it's made me grind. Like last night when you text me saying, "Yo, come on," I was like, "All right." I went back to work, and I worked for another 3 hours.
Let's put a bit of context on that, because guys, I will tell you, this was like a last minute thing. Yeah. In fact, I'm filming, or I think this is going to go live after the one I'm filming after this.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
basically filming 2 podcasts today, and I had a space, and I thought, let's get you on. And bro, you're right. And in fact, he brought me
Snapback, yeah.
It's a snapback.
One of the 621 snapbacks, yeah.
621, which is his business. Other guests, take note. I
you got to keep the podcast happy, man.
Shout out to them, 621.
Yeah, so 621's my
we'll
baby.
leave links to that in the description. In fact, also we will get onto that a little bit later, but please continue.
Yeah, cool. So where were we at? Sorry,
I have no clue.
Neither do I. Anyway, you were talking about first car, right? That's what I can remember.
Yes, that's right.
I got my first ever car was Oh, sorry, I was saying I'm very lucky to have my dad as my mentor and stuff in the business and that, but I can't remember where I was going with it. So we'll talk about cars instead. I got an EP2 Civic. I won't bullshit. My parents bought me it. I was looking. I'll tell you why I think they intervened. Because this was when max power and fast car and that was it. That was it. If you had a max power car with pearlescent paint and big body kits and chrome wheels, them chrome wheels with the stars in the middle, that shit. Like that was, you were the hot shit. None of this fucking, it didn't matter back then about being fast, really. It was like, it's all about style. Yeah. And you look back now and it's not stylish at all, but you look back and you're like, all right.
It's like, I hope, they say like fashion goes full circle.
Yeah.
I hope that don't come back.
I think people have been trying to bring it back, but I'm not biting. I'm ignoring that. But no, this, so like I was looking, I found this Corsa that I could afford, and it was a 1.2 Corsa SRI, is it? I can't remember what the thing are, but. And it had a massive body kit on it. It was like purple to pink to blue flip, and it had the big chrome wheels. And I showed my mum, and I was like, I'm gonna go get this. And I was 16, obviously at the time. And I was like, I'm gonna go get this. And she was like, you're not fucking driving that around. I was like, I am. And she was like, told my dad, and my dad was like, you're not having that.
Oh man.
And I was like, why? It's my money. I'm gonna go. He was like, how are you gonna insure it?
Yeah.
You're 17, you idiot. And like, we just need to give some context to that as well. Back in the day, you couldn't insure anything. You couldn't insure anything.
Well,
like,
they were stingy, weren't they?
Oh,
insurance people, like literally, like it's like they wanted you to walk. They didn't want you.
Yeah, they didn't want anyone under 21 in a car. Like they were just like, nah, it's like $4,000. I'm like, my God. So we did an insurance quote on it, and it was expensive because of all the mods. So we were looking at like standard ones, but then on my birthday, so I worked out Honda at the time as well on the reception desk. I leveled up. I went from peeling potatoes to answering phones. And what a pleasure. I got to wear a suit, and I used to go in on weekends, and but I think I know it sounds weird to say you excel at a job like that, but I wouldn't just be the receptionist. You know what I mean? I'd be making sure all the prices were right in the cars. I'd make sure there was no dirt on the cars. I took pride in that place because I loved it, and I love cars. You know what I mean? So like, I was just like, I just want the cars to look good, and they got this blue EP2 Sport, vivid blue pearl EP2 come in, and I was like, I remember every weekend I'd go in and I'd clean that car. And it was really weird because I'd clean it. I think the number plate was like OE55 EVW or something. Okay. And I'd go in and I'd clean it, and I'd make sure that car looked to tits because the colour in the sun. If anyone has not seen vivid blue pearl in the sun,
I don't know. Maybe do you know what? I'm going to find that and put a picture up now.
It is.
I don't even know what
in the sun, I think it's my favourite Honda colour. It's beautiful. It just looks amazing. Maybe I'm biased because I had one. Do you know what I mean? But like, I just loved it, and I remember looking at that car going, man, I wish I could afford that. Like that is what I was like. I wish I could afford that. And then obviously, I only worked there Saturdays and Sundays, and my dad had gone in during the week and bought the car for me, and I didn't know. Oh. Yeah, so I remember then he come into my work one day on the weekend, and Chris was there. Chris Hepton is the director of John Banks in Ipswich and that group, and he's like a family friend now, like a really nice guy, really good dude. And he was in, and I was like, this is weird. Chris is never in on a weekend. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and then my dad come in. And he was like, he goes, Chris, can I borrow Adam for a minute? And he was like, yeah, keys are on the desk. And no, he went, Adam, get the keys to that blue Civic while you go up there. I need you to put the price in or something. It was something like that, like Chris was like, that blue Civic, we've put it up the back because the price was wrong. Can you change the price in it? I was like, yeah. So I grabbed the keys, thinking nothing of it, thinking my dad had bought my mum a new CRV or something. That's honestly what I thought. Okay. And we're walking at the back, and that Civic was just parked out back. And I remember looking at it in the yard. It wasn't even like fancy. It was just in the backyard bit where we used to keep the cars. And that car was there. And he went, do you like it? And I was like, oh, this is like my favourite car here. And he was like, I know, it's yours.
No.
And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I bought it for you. It's your birthday present. And that was like, so I know a lot of people for like their 21st, they get a watch or anything like that. So like my dad doesn't care about stuff like that. He just wanted to make sure that his kids have safe cars, when you're growing up.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it was like one of these things that was just such an amazing, and I understood how lucky I was when it was happening. Do you know what I mean? Because I never expected it either. It wasn't like we were spoiled. Like we were spoiled, but not silver spoon. Do you know? It weren't like
your parents. Look,
you know,
the same way. If you had money, you would do it for you.
But we haven't
whatever
always.
You have, you give to your kids. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Like, I mean, it's stingy parents,
and we're not rich. Do you know what I mean? We've just done all right. You know, like Dad's worked really, really, really hard to get to where he is now. And we didn't always have it. You know, we haven't always had the nice stuff. So it was nice to like be like, wow, okay, this is sick.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that car meant a lot to me. And then I hit a deer and rode it off.
No way. Oh man.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing little story there. And the way you kind of still explain it with so much passion and vividly, because these things mean a lot to us.
Massive.
Like, you know, and this is why we are who we are, is because cars mean so much to us. Like people get into cars and it's like it's just a car.
Yeah.
And I guarantee their memory of their picking up their first car is nowhere as vivid or as long as ours would be.
Mm-hmm. What was yours?
So in fact, going back to it and talking about, I always wanted the most bang for buck, as in like how cool a car would look or what brand it was or whatever. But that was wrong, actually. That did come at some stage in my kind of car history. But basically, long story but funny story. I was on a ban because I used to ride bikes, right?
Okay, cool.
So I got a ban on a bike, right? We won't go into exactly what it was. But when I come off the ban, right, we've all got dodgy mates. Now I've got quite a few of them, yeah? My mate was like...
They're the best type. They're the best type.
Bro, exactly. I'm like coming off a ban and then wanting to buy a car. At that age, insurance, we're talking, you're not getting insured on anything, right?
Getting insured enough.
Mate, these things are still going on now, but this is the first I had heard of it. So I was like 18 or 19. My mate was like, look, I have got a link. You can get any car insured, £500. Bro, when someone says that to you, you're not even checking the credibility.
You don't question
it. Take my money. So straight away, as soon as he told me that, right, at the time, I absolutely loved cars. These are the points where I was going to meets but couldn't drive and seeing what, you know, you kind of, you find the love of what your friends and your peers and everyone else kind of reacts to when they pull up in the meet. Like everyone's, oh, that's nice. You know what I mean? So my first kind of like car that I wanted more than anything was a Renault 5 GT Turbo.
Bang.
Yeah? Bro, I still want that car now. Yeah. So anyway, when I was looking, my budget was like $2,500, right?
Yeah.
Took out a loan for it and all that. Couldn't find any for $2,500 that looked clean. But what I did see was a XR3i with an RS turbo lump on it.
Okay. Not declared, I guess.
Say again?
Not declared on the paperwork.
Well, we're getting to that.
Okay,
right?
okay.
That saved me. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm looking at this car and it looked amazing. Full RS body kit was lowered, nice wheels and everything. It was in like, there's a name for it, but I call it gunmetal grey. But it's that grey, lovely looking colour. Yeah. But it was a full replica, except from it was a convertible cabriolet. So anyway, went down, bought the car, longed the guy out so much. I give him like a 50, I think it's like £200 deposit, and I had to wait for the loan to drop. Right. And it took forever to drop. Yeah. Man, he's calling me out all the time. I think it took like 3 weeks for me to come back with the money. But anyway, picked up the car and I was in heaven, bro. Absolutely loved it. It was around stock power, but had a Bailey dump valve on it.
Okay.
So any time I drove past someone, bro, I was changing it. I was like, bro, I just loved it. Like, it felt fast at the time for a first car. I had the roof down. It had. Do you remember the XR3i? They had the roof
beam.
The beam.
Yeah.
Like, you know
the
what I mean?
roll bar, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Cars, like, bro, it looks so horrible now looking back on it. But I mean, bro, I felt like I was so cool. And basically, 2 weeks into me having the car, obviously, inevitably, bro, that insurance is flopped. I was like, what? Oh my God. So now I'm stuck with an RS Turbo and I'm 18, ban on my license. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, how am I going to insure this? Luckily, on the paperwork, XR3i. So, put mama's first driver, still paid a big bag of money, but managed to insure myself.
That was what we all had to do back in the day, though. Everyone was a named driver.
We were just named drivers.
That's all it was. It was like, oh, how old are you? You're 17 and you're a boy? Good luck. Or how about if my mum puts it on her name? Oh, yeah, well, it'll still be expensive, but you can have it then. But I'm still going to be the one driving.
People rid that out for so long that, like, people, even now, have only got like 2 years no claims bonus under their own name.
I think people rigged it for so long that insurance companies were like, let's just give them affordable insurance. Like, because they're just doing it anyway.
Exactly,
so, like, we like con the system. Yeah. Yeah, good old times.
Bro, that was my first car. And then it just went on and on and on. But basically, it did get to a point where, you know, I got a bit bored of having to fix my cars all the time. You know what they said about Fords back in the day?
Fix or repair daily, innit?
There you go. So it got to that, and it became the point of, you know, I just want the most bang for my buck. And you know, I started getting into my Germans after that. And because, you know, they're the ones that people care about. Oh, you got the Merc, you got the
Beamer.
Audi. You know what I mean? I'm not the tallest guy in the world. Not that small though, guys. Don't get it wrong.
You're super tall, man.
Exactly.
Same
Bro,
height as me, mate.
This
I
is
know
the
what you're
thing,
talking
bro. People think I'm like 5'8", bro. But you know, that's just how tall I look.
Short kings, bro. That's
we're
what it
like,
is.
what, 6'5"?
About that.
I have to duck coming in the door.
Yeah, if I wear the Reeboks, I'm a little bit taller.
Sick. Yeah, but you know, it was all about being, you know, a young guy in a bossy
fancy
car.
Yeah,
you know, and I went through that. But basically kind of found my way back to the modified fast scene. But enough about me. Let's talk about some of your cars now, because you are a man of many cars, I believe, right?
Yeah, loads, man. I've got 9, I think, at the minute.
You've got 9
yeah,
cars.
at the minute.
At the minute.
Yeah, man.
So that's subject to change.
Always. Mate, it was a good deal, mate. Some of these cars, I have to tell your audience, I think if any of your viewers saw my cars sometimes, they'd be like, what the fuck is this dude about? So I have what I call two types of vehicles that I own. Ones are my ones I'm going to keep forever, and they're the cars that if I didn't have a YouTube channel, they'd be there still. So my Civic, my Silvia, I've got an S15 Silvia, I've got an EG6 VTI Civic, E92 M3, and I don't know what number it'd be, but a 2014 X5. That's my day-to-day car. So that's my daily driver.
You're doing all right, bro.
Yeah, man. You know, like I said, been drilled into me since I was a child. You work hard.
You're grafted
It's that.
for it.
So So they're my main vehicles. They're the cars, and I'm also very proud that I have a trailer. I have a Brian James trailer, which is like
your trailer.
my trailer is my favorite thing in the world.
Bro, I was looking at that like, bro, that's the kind of trailer you want to keep locked up, because the doers you likeies, bro,
They'll take it. They'll take it. They'll take it. That thing's hidden. Right? Like everything of mine is hidden. Like I understand that. So they're my cars that I have, and they're the cars that I plan on having forever. And then I'm very partial to a funny purchase.
Okay.
So I don't know what to say. Let's say I was a bit wavy one night and I was on eBay and I was like, I don't know why. I don't know whether it was on a TV show or this car was just somewhere, but I was like, I love Peugeot 405s. Out of nowhere, I was like, I love Peugeot 405s. I was like, I wonder if there's any for sale.
Ooh,
yeah, I was
got
like,
some explaining to do.
I know, man. So I was like, I don't know what it is. I just think they look cool.
Did you get a 405 with an MI16?
No, I didn't. I got.
They made one.
They made one,
okay.
right? But I was on eBay, and I'm quite friendly with a few of the people in the car scene. You know, like car show people. I talk to them on Instagram DMs a lot. And one of the girls I get on super well. She's super dope girl. So she's got the same personality as me. She's up for jokes. I sent her a link to this car, and I was like, "Yo, I'm super tempted to buy this." And it was this.
Water on myself.
Yeah, Peugeot 405 Estate in pedo white.
Pedo
white. It's got no rust on it, mate.
Okay.
And I was like, the thing is, because I come from the Japanese and the German tuning world, I've seen the prices of cars just going absolutely chaotic. Like everything I love is now £1 jillion. Like if I want another Civic, I'm paying £5,000-6,000 for a basic rusty Civic that would be a worth one to do. So I saw this and it was up for 550 quid, and I just said to her like, oh, I'm just going to send him an offer for £400. She was like, no, let me send him on for 200 first, and then I'll go, and then you can go in at 400. I wasn't in my right state.
Like that.
Yeah, so I wasn't in my right state of mind anyway. And I sent him this offer, but I'm the kind of person that if I say I'm going to do something, I have to stick to it.
Okay.
Even if it's to a stranger I don't know. If I say, yeah, I'll buy your car, I'm then like, I wake up the next day and my head's a bit clearer, and I've had my orange juice and everything's sorted, and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I don't want this fucking thing. But, you know, like you know, with YouTube, a new car reveal always gets numbers. Even it doesn't matter what it is. You can hide the car and say, I got a new car. And lots of people will click on it because they're nosy and they want to call you an asshole. So I'm like, all right, cool. And so I did that video. But then I've like, obviously this third lockdown has happened. And it's just been like, well, what do we do? Like, because like for me, like all of the cars I've got, like the Civic, it's finished. I don't want to K-swap it. I'm not about chasing power. That car to me is my track car, and I can drive that car faster than most people can drive their fast car fast. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
that's all I care about with that car is it stays healthy, stays reliable. I don't even look at the value of them because I don't care. Like to me, I paid $2,000 for that car, and it'll always be a $2,000 car to me, even though I've spent thousands restoring it, get the wheels on it. I could talk for hours about that car, man. Like the wheels are the only sets outside of Japan.
Okay.
What
are the wheels?
So they're Volk T37s, but they're from a garage it's a race garage in Japan called Aslan that races Hondas, and they had a set of 10 wheels made for their race cars, and they had one set for sale, which I bought while I was in Japan. They wouldn't sell them to me while I was in Japan because I'm white. They were
No.
like, yeah, they were like, no, we can't sell them to you. You're white. I was like, what do you mean? And
Hang on, wait. They said that.
yeah, they said like, we can't sell to you because you're gonna take them out of Japan, and we've got an agreement with Rays that we won't sell outside of Japan. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm in Japan, buying the wheels in Japan, and they were like, oh, okay.
How'd you fit them in your suitcase, bro?
I sent them back. So I'm lucky because this is something I kind of hoped we'd talk about, but I'm hooked up with the guy that's used to be an old Kanjo street racer, and he now runs a company called Osaka JDM. 5 Mart is his shop. Osaka JDM is his brand. I've been really good friends with him for a long time because I've always been super into my like hardcore JDM stuff. So that's why I had to buy them wheels.
When you say, hang on, wait.
We're not talking about like the weird. We're not talking about the weird
bro?
anime and shit. We're not talking about the fucking octopus stuff.
Just the way you said it, hardcore. Because in the car world, there's levels, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's like, you're a little bit JDM, but you're deep, bro. You're like dark web JDM.
I found out that Kazu is his name. Kazuhiro is his name. Well, I think I've probably fucking murdered saying that. But Kazuhiro, he's a lovely man. And I found out that because he always used to just make spoilers for EF Civics. That's all it really was. EAT, EF, like the old boxy shaped ones. And then I heard on the grapevine through my links that he was making one for an EG with the Pandem guys, the people that make the Pandem body kits.
I'm quite new to the JDM.
Okay, so Pandem, they do like BMW stuff. They're like they're almost like a Liberty Walk competitor, I guess. Are they competitors? I think Pandem.
I don't know.
They might even be the same thing, bro. I don't know. Like I'm good with JDM until it's not Honda. Does that make sense? If it's not a Honda thing, I don't care. Like that's generally what it is. But he was doing this spoiler with the guy from Pandem, designing it to be like they were calling it the Devil Wing, and I heard it, so I see it on this American blog that I was like super into back in the day. So I messaged him on Facebook and added him, and I was like, I literally just put, hi, I have EG Civic, because I understand, I've worked with Chinese people forever, so I understand you have to kind of break it down into simple English, so just so it's easier for them to understand, because a lot of these guys in Japan don't talk English, so they all use Google Translate.
You break it down, you take out the syllables and the words.
Just make it easy, because they're probably going to copy paste it and put it into Google Translate, so you need to make it translate easy. And I basically just put, I have EG Civic, I want to buy your spoiler. Tell me when available. That's all I put. And he accepted me and he just put, okay, like the little okay green emoji thing, you know.
Hello Kitty after that, smile.
And he goes, he was like, okay. And then I was just like, he's going to forget about me. But I was like, I want to have the first one in England. That's all I just wanted it so bad. And I said to him, the second it's ready, you tell me. He went, okay, ready to ship. I sent him the money there and I bought 2. Nice. So to make the shipping cheaper. And I put it on had it painted, put it on my car, and when that all went on, I was just like, man, I need to sell these. So I messaged him, and I was like, I have a shop called 621. Could I be your exclusive distributor?
Oh, so you already had I
already had I've had 621 since 2009. It started as a blog, and then it kind of just naturally transitioned into selling car parts. And the real reason I started selling car parts is because I realised if I got an account, I could get percentage off of car parts I wanted. Sick. So I was just like, well, I've got a company now that's VAT registered, so I can just sign up to one of these accounts and get car parts for cheap. And normally, and this is, I don't know if I should say this, but in the industry, if you are building a car for yourself, they'll normally give you a little bit more money off as well, because it's advertising for them having it on your car.
Of course.
So that's basically why I started that up. And I just said to him, like, I'd love to have like the exclusivity with you. And I still have that to this day. And that was probably 7 years ago. And it was all done on just a Facebook message. Yeah. And even now, if someone messages him directly, he'll more than likely say, oh, 621, UK 621. You know what I mean? And like, I've got a lot of love for that guy. Yeah.
No, wicked.
Yeah.
So is that all of your cars, or like so?
Oh no, sorry. So I've got the Peugeot 405. I've got a Mercedes C180 that's got a full AMG kit on it, genuine. AMG wheels, leather interior that I paid £80 for.
£80.
80 quid.
Bargain.
Yeah, basically it was. I love my neighbour. He's so funny. But he had this Mercedes just sat on his driveway with shit piled up on it. And I just said to him one day, I was like, "What are you doing with that Merc?" And he was like, "Oh, I think I'm going to scrap it." I was like, "How much is it scrap value?" It was like 80 quid. I was like, "I'll give you 80 quid."
Straight up.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, all right."
So, you're a compulsive car buyer.
Oh, massively. And then when I got it to my house, I was like, it's the same story with every car. I get back to my yard and I get it off and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? What the fuck? But like, I was quite lucky that one has obviously got some money in it because it's got the AMG kit on it. And I'm sure there's going to be someone out there modifying one that wants the kit. So, I mean, I've got some plans to do with these cars. And then I've also got, right, hang on, let me just think quite hard. I've got a Civic Coupe that I'm turning into a pickup truck, like into a ute.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
The roof's been cut off of it. We've done all the frame for it. But at that time, I was not planning on getting my Sylvia back. that was at a place. I don't want to talk about it. It was at a place. I ended up getting it back with no work done on it. Okay. So then it meant I had to. My Silvia is my absolute current baby. You know, like so the Civic is
S15,
like
S15. You said, yeah?
S15. Yeah, it's It looks like something out of a Japanese anime. Like it's got the big body kit, super low, massive wheels. It looks the tits, big wide arches.
SR20 DET.
Yep, and I've got a brand new one, fully forged for it from DY Engines, which should. I'm gonna get a guy called Jack at Jay's garage to finish building it for me, because it's kind of. I think it's something I think long term I could do if it was my only car and I didn't have YouTube and I didn't have all of the other shit that I'm involved in, like I'm involved in a lot of stuff, and like to have a full build of a drift car that's so expensive.
Oh, so it is drift car based.
It is a full drift car. Okay, like it is a full. It is built to be a drift car. Nice, nice. And this is where I'm lucky that I've done all right. You know what I mean? It means I can go. Okay, I'm gonna build just a drift car.
But bro, that's beautiful, because you work to kind of. Fulfill your passion.
Yeah, and I don't like having money in my bank, so I don't like it, mate. I don't like it.
Have it in the car, yeah.
Well, hang on. What if these banks just decide to go one day? Sorry, we gambled all your money away, so you can't get in your account. So I'm thinking. Like, nah. No, I'm going to gamble my money away. And at the minute, I've been hitting it lucky with these old Jap cars that I've been buying for nothing. Yeah, yeah. Like I paid $9,000 for my Silvia with an SR20 DET in it, and $2,000 for my Civic. Wow. Now, I wouldn't even, if someone offered me the other day $8,000 for the Civic, and I just went, what, you're just trying to buy the wheels?
Yeah,
like, come on, mate. Yeah. Like, look at the prices they're going for in Japan, bro. Like, I wouldn't sell them anyway. They're priceless to me. But the Silvia is like my current main build, but that's going off to somewhere else. And the Ute will probably come back onto my YouTube channel because I'll have garage space again. And it just means that can come back over because it's all open metal. I didn't want it to rust, like being left outside. Yeah. But that was probably the most fun day I've had in a long time, cutting a roof off of a car. And then the funniest thing about that was, in England, we get a colour on like the base spec Civics that the Americans only got on their SIs, that would be their VTI, so it's this blue. I can't even remember what it's called. It's just a metallic blue. It's nice. Electronic Blue Pearl, I think that's what it's called, EBP. And a guy called Honda Pro Jason, who's a huge Honda influencer in America. I get on really well with him. Like he always is like mollycoddled me a little bit with his Honda audience and put me out to the American masses. It's been really cool. And
you're getting love, quite a lot of love from America.
Not really. If I'm honest, I mean the thing is I don't sell myself too well. I don't think, because I kind of like get their audience in, like, and I'll be like, yeah, all Americans are dumb. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like a joke. Like I'm just kind of playing around, but you forget that not everyone gets British sarcasm and British humor and like.
Well, I feel like most of the Americans still think that we still ride horse and cart.
Oh yeah, and I mean I'm not exactly an advocate for good teeth. I know my teeth aren't great, but like they all think we've got bad teeth. Got bad teeth.
I think Americans still get surprised when they see a black person in England. Like, you know what I mean? Like they still got slaves over there. You know what I mean? But you know what? Family Guy takes the piss out of it the worst. Yeah. They take the piss. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Put some respect on that. You know what I mean? Teeth popping out here, these funny accents.
I think I've been out of a girl that looks like that guy.
There is truth in it though, bro. There's some truth in it.
But yeah, I got this Civic and we cut the roof off of it. And I sent the pictures to Jason because I just knew he'd love it. Like, it's just one of these things. Like, I basically said this car was going to scrap, dude. I was meant to K-swap it. I had a deal with a guy who was meant to sell me a very fair priced K20 in exchange for loads of promo. But I really quickly found out that it was what he'd done is he'd given me a Duff one so that I'd have to go back and he could replace it and look like an amazing, oh, look, I've supplied him with this. And I was like, no, this is never part of the fucking deal. Yeah, you've fucked me now because I've lost the deal. I had a potential sponsorship with a deal. Well, it was a sponsorship. They'd given me a massive discount off of K-Swap parts, hybrid racing. Massive discount. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is the first big project I'm doing on my YouTube channel that's going to bring in sponsors and it'll be a series. And then the first thing that happens is I get sold a Duff engine. And I'm like, mate, I've got all of my boys here today to strip this engine down, put all the new stuff on it, and you fucked me. Yeah. And like, I fell out of him over that because I was like, nah, like you get one chance, and everyone's like, oh, you should like, nah, I fucking shouldn't. This is business. This is business as well.
You ain't got time to. Like,
I haven't got time for this.
Yeah, we ain't got time.
And hybrid racing obviously expecting me to pay them for all the parts that I was going to be going right. We'll get the engine, we'll recondition the engine. I'll pay X amount of thousands of pounds still. It wasn't like a gift. It was still a lot of money. And then I'd have to pay the fee when it come in. And I was like, well, just get it all in and we'll do it. And then this engine was Duff. And I was like, what else is going to go wrong with this? And then, so the shell, I only paid 300 quid for the car. And it was like an X air ride car, so they'd like hacked up the arches and underneath was a bit fucked. And I was like, do you know what? This car is never going to be sick. Like, so what? Do I just scrap it? And I tried to sell it. I put it up for 250 quid. I was like,
no one would have it.
I was like, just come and get it. It's a rolling car. Yeah, 250 quid. It's got all the doors, boots, lights, everything. And I had one guy. I was like, yeah, I'll give you 250 quid, but I only want the doors and the boot. And I was like, and the bonnet. And I was like, all right, I'll come take them, and I'll get rid of the rest of the car. Sound. I'll get the money I want. You get the parts you want. He just didn't turn up. And that fucked me off so much. I was like, I'm cutting the roof off the fucking thing and making it a truck. And my friend, Lewis, who is like he's like that, you know, everyone has like the angel and the devil, and you got the angel that's going, yeah, you need to be good, eat healthy, be good. And there's that devil that's like, do all the drugs in the world and buy all the cars you can find and fuck all the girls you can. That's Lewis, is that guy. So he was just like, we should make it a convertible. And I was like, nah, pickup truck.
Yeah.
Pickup truck. Because then that'd be sick. It's a pickup truck. Like, why wouldn't that be funny? Like, that'd just be funny. Like, surely it'd be funny. Like, you'd be like...
Bro, you got to make the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, so he come down for a weekend and we hacked this car up, man. And it was legit, like, one of the funniest videos I ever did. And we sent the stuff to Jason, and the hate on this...
Hate.
Oh, my God.
Oh, like, because it was, like, destroying something that they...
They were like, how can you do this? But I'm a fucking joker, bro. So I was like, they all think this is a fucking... EM1. So I was just replying to him going, yeah, I cut up an EM1. They're fucking crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would I care? It's just a shit Honda Civic. Like, yeah, I was just like, well, they're angry anyway. Let's just piss them off even more.
Sometimes it is like they say don't feed the trolls, but you know what? Sometimes
fuck it, I'll cook them a 3-course meal, man. I'll be like, yeah, come on, sit down, boys. I love it. Like, I just can't, I don't know why, but I get so much pleasure out of winding these idiots up. Because, like, I think another thing I eventually want to go into is stand-up comedy. So I kind of use this all as practice. Do you know what I mean?
You really want to get into stand-up?
Yeah, I fully do. I've done some gigs before and stuff. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I did like a whole, like, I went to a whole comedy school thing and like.
No way.
Yeah, I did it just before, basically 2019. Like that winter, I was up in London every weekend at a comedy school. Yeah.
It takes balls to get in. Like, well, I say it takes balls. It would, for me, it would be very scary to stand up in front of all those people.
I had my confidence massively knocked.
Yeah, you got to eat shit a few times apparently.
Oh man, so I went to one of these gigs and I had 2 really good gigs. Like the first couple of gigs out of the school, people were laughing and people were laughing and like, and I was making people laugh. And
is this like proper, like people are paying to go see this?
Well, they're called at the beginning. They're called bringer gigs. So that's what it is. I'm a fucking the bottom of the barrel comedian, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm in the back room of clubs in London that you have to bring something. So I'd have to take you with me to get on stage that night. If I don't turn up with the person, I can't go on stage.
You got to bring girls who ain't coming in.
They're literally, not even girls. They're just like, just bring anyone. The homeless guy, fucking, as long as he buys a drink, we don't care. Like, just come on in. There has to be people there. So I did a couple of gigs, and then I did this other one, and it's called Comedy Virgins, which is wicked. But there was a guy there that had been doing it for 10 years, like comedy for 10 years. And I completely get it if you want to get up and practice your set, but I was like, mate, this guy was the funniest guy of the night. Like, he was so funny, Irish, he was so funny. But literally, straight after he come off, I was like, fuck, I really hope I don't have to follow that guy. Yeah, next on the stage is Adam Ivell.
No.
And I was like, dude, I just talk about my dog being a cock block. How the fuck is this going to go? That guy was actually a comedian. Dude, I'm just an idiot. I'm just trying this shit. Do you know what I mean? And I flopped, mate. Like,
really?
It was...
Is it one of those ones where you tell a joke and you're seeing hearing crickets? And
not so much that. There was kind of like some... you know, I got some laughs because some of my set was pretty solid. Like, I'd practiced some of it. But, like, instantly, I messed up the first joke. And my brain just had a fart. And I was like, oh, shit. Fuck.
Dude, there's nowhere to hide.
You just have to carry on. And it was like, I think the thing is, I grew up on cars and comedy. That is what I grew up on. Like, if I wasn't watching Top Gear DVDs or that sort of stuff, or the videos back then, VHS, I was watching Peter Kay and Lee Evans.
Are they your guys? Is that the kind of inspiration?
Initially, yeah. Growing up, mate, when Peter Kay did that joke about being a hobnob, that was the first time I ever ruffled. Like, actually, I will send you it. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link after this, Braze.
I've probably offended a load of people if I say that. I don't know.
You'll laugh. There's no way you won't laugh.
Yeah, them are funny, man.
Oh man. And then, but as I've grown up, I found like other like American comedians, because like I said, I got quite lucky having family in LA, so I got to go over there a lot, and I'd always go to like the comedy tent at V-Fest. They always had a comedy tent, so instead of going to like some bands I never heard of, I'd just go and can I just say smoke a doobie? I go smoke a doobie and go to the comedy tent.
Whatever you want, bro.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just go smoke a doobie, go sit in the comedy tent, and I just fucking laugh for hours. And it was just like, this is just heaven. I was like, I want to be giving these people laughter as well. And I think that's kind of maybe where I found a little bit of issue with my my YouTube content as well, because sometimes I take like a really serious thing, like we might be fitting like some stuff to a car, but then I try and add comedy into it, and
Bro,
and then it
you're
kind
a man after my own heart in that. I mean, look, I love to laugh. I love to make jokes of everything. Like, always kind of look on the bright side of things. And people that don't like comedy, man, you're boring.
Yeah, how can you go a day without laughing? And this is another thing. I told her, so my mum watches my YouTube videos. Yeah, she loves it. Like, not all of them. She won't watch ones where we're working on the cars because she knows the language is gonna be. But I've been very lucky, considering the size of my channel and like the size of like my audience and stuff. Like, I have a fantastic audience, man. Like, I have a very loyal group of dudes that just want the best for me. Guys and girls, they're amazing. But I got the chance to drive the GR Yaris. Like, before this was I got to go on the proper press drives, dude. Like, proper press. Nice. And when I got the invite up, Toyota have always been a company that've been amazing to me. They took me away to skid on the ice in Sweden, which was amazing. First time I've ever been to Sweden, amazing. And then I got to go Portugal. First time I ever went to Portugal. Nice. And it just so happened. This is what I mean. I'm a joker. And I can't. So I got to the airport, landed in at the airport in Portugal, and I was waiting with Toyota, like a couple of girls at Toyota, and they were like, "Oh, we've got one more guy coming," and I thought you could be a YouTuber. I thought you might turn up or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I just thought.
Bro, invite me to that. I'm not really journalist.
I honestly think one day you carry on, bro. The way you're going, you will. I think there's no way you can't. That's the way I see it. Like, but because this is new media, what you and I do is the new media. Do you know what I mean? Some people don't watch the news and stuff anymore. They won't watch.
To talk to you about this. It's funny actually. I've got a quick. I'll let you finish.
Yeah. And so I turn up on this trip, and I'm waiting there, and you got to understand. Everyone needs to understand, I am my own worst critic. I am, like, no matter what a YouTube comment says to me, there's nothing I haven't already gone through in my head that isn't worse than that. So, like, when someone goes to me, "You're a fat bald guy," I'm like, well, I am. I'm not that fat. Like,
you're not that bad,
I'm not that
bro.
fat.
You're not that bad.
This is lockdown comfort me. Like,
bad,
the gyms are all opening soon, so we can get back and get my ass kicked in there again. But so like when I'm there, I'm kind of just like, I'm just kind of like the nobody. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, just I'll do my thing. Like, I'm not here to make a big noise or anything. I'm not. I'm just here to do my thing and get out of here. Well, I'm sat there and I'm getting in the car. This really tall dude turns up. He must have been about 8 foot tall, considering we're like, what, 6'5",
7
something like
foot,
that,
something around.
About 8'11" or something. And he turns up and he's wearing all the Toyota gear, and like they all love him and they're like sucking him off a little bit. And I'm like, "You're right, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Adam." You know what I mean? I just do YouTube shit, and I normally introduce myself to these people like I just kind of skid cars around on YouTube. That's kind of how I do it, because then I set the bar low and you can impress. and this guy, I sat in the car with him. And he was like just on his phone and reading through some notes, and I'm just kind of sat there, just kind of looking at the day going by, and I was just like, "So who are you then?" And he was like, and he said his name. I can't remember who he was.
I was going to say it's Mr. JWW.
No, don't be silly, but we can talk about that as well in a minute, because I want to. And this guy was like, "Yeah, I'm this guy and this guy," and he was like, he's like one of the head Toyota Europe guys.
Oh, sick.
And I was like, "That's fucking dope."
Yeah.
I was like, "Got any stories?" Because I don't think people ever get asked that. Because like normally they're just like, "Oh yes, you're the best." And he was like, "Oh yes," and he went into telling me all about how he took the car to the guy that is like a Japanese, like super high. I don't know if Japanese have a royal family or not. I can't remember the story a little bit.
He got something like.
But yeah, he's like super high up in like the Japanese ecosystem, and he was currently living in Germany, and he was like getting food in through the back of this hotel for this guy, all for the Toyota, and I was like, "My God, you are connected, dude." I was like, "Yo, fuck, I just kind of skid cars and shit." And I'm sat with this dude who knows like kings and queens and stuff. I was like, "You're cool, man." And like the whole weekend, I'm like chit-chatting with him, and like, we got on really well. We're in the car together for an hour.
The thing is, people in high position, we're all human. Some people think they're overly cool. And
of course.
But we're all human. Like,
of course.
You know what I mean?
But if he was arrogant to me, I'd have said something to try and knock him down a bit.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh, it's a shame you're not working at Honda, though." Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd say something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because
their own game.
Because like I'm lucky that in real life I deal with some very wealthy people in my real life. So like when I'm sat next to like a multimillionaire, it's just like, "Well, all right, dude, you're cool, man. It is what it is." Like. So like football, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care how much money you've got, man. I just care that you're not going to be an arsehole to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then at the end of the trip, he come and found me. Like, he come out, there was like, must have been about 40, 50 people there. And he come through all of these people. He said goodbye to Fernando Alonso because he was there as well. Wow. And then from him, come straight to me. And he was like, "Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. I hope you do very well with this YouTube stuff." And like, ignored like all like loads of people.
Well, bro, that goes to show, you know what I mean? Not all these famous or nice or very well-known people have got personalities or are nice people to be around. You find a genuine person, bro, you're going to gravitate
to it. And like, he literally was like, "I hope we come across paths again. I can't." I go, because obviously now it's been announced it's a new GTA 6, but it was like, "I can't tell you, but we have a new GTA 6 coming out."
Yeah? I didn't even know that.
I think they're only being shown out in America at the moment, but they are. There is definitely.
Please tell me there's a little bit more power in them.
No, but Not much. I think there is, but I'm gonna go into this with you as well because like you're a power guy, whereas I'm a hardcore JDM guy. So we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so because I think we can touch on that briefly. Basically, like with the GT86, the GT86 was like a reincarnation of the AE86, and the AE86, if you ever drive a normal one, are slow as balls. They are not built to be the fast, rapid car. They are built to be a car that handles well.
Got you.
So that's why the GT86 isn't this 400 brake, Golf R competitor. It is like the Japanese do their thing their way, and that's the way they do it. And they did the Supra. They were just like, all right, you want a fast coupe? Oh, there's a Supra. You got BMW engine, but there's a Supra. Go enjoy it. And well, no, we don't want that. We want it. Well, sorry, mate. You don't always get what you want in life. But I think we're in a culture where people are too used to getting what they want in life. Yeah. And like I could go back to the insurance thing as a kid. I couldn't have the cars I wanted when I was growing up.
No, 100%.
I couldn't. 100%. I wanted a DC5 Integra more than anything. And I'll tell you why.
DC5,
Oh my God, man. Like when I was like 17, I drove my EP2 because I always wanted an EP3 but couldn't insure one. Drove up to KFC in Ipswich on the D's. And as I drove it in there, this guy was stood next to a Type R and he went, "Oh, you ain't got a Type R, mate. It's not a Type R though, is it?" And I was like, I never forgot that. It was like one of these things. I was like, I went, "Why do you care? I'm not going to let you drive it." And he was like, "Mine's fucking way faster than yours. I got the Type R." And I was like, all right, man. All right. Sweet. I remember going home that night and I was like, what else is there?
Yeah.
And I see the Integra. And I was like, all right. My granddad used to have Integras growing up as well. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get myself a DC5. And when I got my first DC5, I've had 3 of them. And
way.
Yeah, I've had 3.
You're more DC5 than me, bro. Wow.
Well, on your DC5 as well, under the bonnet, 621 sticker, bro.
Bro. Right, so this was actually, it's quite funny you mentioned that because that was actually kind of like our first initialization of getting
contact.
Because I didn't know, like, because when I got my DC5, it was already, it was already Jackson supercharging it, and I just thought the 621.
621, yeah.
It. So I just thought that was something to do. I didn't know that was your.
Do you want to know something else?
Gone.
That is like an OG sticker. That was like my second ever run of stickers. I did that design.
No way.
Yeah. So that is like 10 years ago. I was doing them. Yeah.
And you I think you messaged me or something. You replied to something. You said, that's
mine.
Company.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool. Adam Ivell. And it's weird there because like you are an OG in the game when it comes to YouTube, right? And when you're paying attention. I know it sounds so weird, but when you're paying attention to what I'm doing, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It makes, do you know, it's weird.
Mate, when you're making waves like you make, though, it's hard to ignore. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. There's there's a lot of people that do YouTube, and it's rare to get a come up now. I feel like everyone that does it, I get a lot of people message me, and I don't know whether they message me because I'm approachable, because I reply to quite a lot of people and stuff, but like, they message me going, how do you get big on YouTube? I'm like, bro, I'm not big on YouTube, so I don't know.
You what, 60 plus?
I got 60k, but I don't look at subscribers, dude. I look at views.
You know what? It's not exactly. But at the same time, 60, you're blowing 60k out of the water, like that's not hard to get to.
Oh, it's ridiculous now. But
that is not easy.
I've got 60,000. And it's taken me, like the other day I celebrated getting 62,200 because I'd been sat at 61. I'd been sat at 62,100 for about 4 months. Like I'd get some new subscribers and others would drop off, and like with lockdown, I couldn't do the content that a lot of people really subscribe for. I like to do, like modified car features, like that's fun. How you know more than anyone, it's hard at the minute to get everyone to link up during the lockdown stuff. And then I also like to do my driving videos, so my drifting, my track days. Bro, it's all shut. My drift car's in bits anyway, so I can't go. And it's like, it's kind of stressed me out a little bit because I'm like, well, I've worked so hard on this YouTube channel. I don't want to let it die.
No.
So I've tried to do different types of content, and it's just been hard for me.
Do you know what's very tricky? Like you say, if you can't give your subscribers the content they subscribed for, you can come with other ideas, but a lot of them subscribe to see you do that thing that they subscribed at the beginning for. So it is hard, and that's why I find. You do get stagnant. And then what you find is the idea becomes played out. Yeah. And then it's hard to switch up and reinvent yourself because people don't,
Everyone wants to be a drifter. Everyone wants to have Hondas now. Everyone wants this. And like, I lost my unique selling point. Do you know what I mean? Because if now someone types in, and this is not me hating on you, by the way.
It's fine.
But like someone types in like Honda Integra Type R, whereas my videos used to be the top. Yeah. Now yours probably do. And then they'll click on yours and be like, oh, he does reviews of these things as well. Whereas mine, it's like, I'm a scatterbrain dude. Like my brain does not work the same as everybody else's. So like one day I want to buy a Peugeot, the next day I got a Toyota camper van as well. Why the fuck have I got that thing? I literally, dude, I just buy stuff because it's funny. Like literally when see this, I don't even know why I was looking at Toyota camper vans, but I was looking at Toyota import camper vans. I was like, it's got to be an import if I'm going to get one. And I found...
Are these eBay drunk views?
eBay.
Bro, eBay like must get like 50% of their
Oh no, I
profit
never
from
paid
drunk
through eBay.
people. Oh really?
Never paid through eBay. I always go, I'll just pay on collect
of
it.
course,
Yeah,
and then cancel the
So
sale.
I went and picked it up from some dodgy little back dealer in the middle of it was like a London council estate with a car dealership like wedged in between two houses. Do you know what I mean? And I went and I sent it to the guy. I was like looking at it and I opened the interior up and I was like, oh shit, it looks like a porn studio from the 80s. I was like, there's no way I'm not buying this thing. It very fast, the novelty wears off when the bills start coming in. You're like, oh shit, I need to this thing's a renovation. I don't know about this, but I like to buy random shit and I can't even remember where I was going with that. My brain farts so hard.
Do you know what? I want to go back to something that you mentioned.
DC5, sorry, yeah.
DC5, and that's I guess it's a good kind of place to start with it because you did mention you're kind of very NA kind of all engine kind of not being actually maybe you are boosted, but I've
got one boosted car.
Very power
oriented.
I need that buzz. I need to be accelerated. Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what. I will take you drifting one day in my Silvia. We'll arrange it so one day there's an event near everyone that we can get you to, so I can show you. So like my Civic is not fast. It is not a fast car. A little Honda.
What engine is it?
A 1.6 B16 A2.
B16
yeah,
A2.
but I've got Toyota manifold. All stock motor. Okay. But I've got B6. I've got the Toyota manifold, custom made B pipe, and a spoon M1. Like with Hondas, they just need a little bit of breathing, and you can rip, and they're fun.
Stripped out and all that.
I think I probably would have case swapped that and gone down that route if I'd have only had that car. But because I got into the drifting, and this drifting bug hit me hard, man. Like to the point where I was like, this is all I'm going to do now. Because I remember going to my first drift event. I was all sad because I'd been through a breakup, and I was like, boo-hoo, the world's collapsing around me and all that shit. My friend in Scotland was like, come up and you can come to the drift event with me. And I get on. I think because I'm quite passionate about what I am into, I bond quite well with people like that. And there was a guy at this event that runs an American clothing company called Jimmy Up. And he was there with his booth, and he really took me under his wing. And he was the first drifter that I'd spoke to that wasn't like, oh yeah, Hondas are fucking shit. Okay. Does that make sense when I say that? He was like, so what are you into? I was like, I'm into my Hondas, man. He was like, oh, dope. Yeah. And he was a massive stoner from LA.
But Hondas get a bad rap,
Oh yeah, everyone hates them, and it's just because
until you fucking drive one.
Until you drive one, I think most people hate them because on a B road. Like you could be in my M3, but if I'm in my EG6 behind you, I'm keeping on. It's like, but on a straight line, my M3 is going to disappear, But I live in the countryside, I do own an M3 as well. It's my, it's for the German boys out there that like German wins. I like my big power German cars too. It's just they're scary, they're scary.
Do you know what? I've got so much things I want to ask you. In fact, we'll get into that after. But with the power, continue.
So I think I get a massive buzz. There was one day, Snetterton track day, and there was a guy there with a J's Racing DC5. It was like, he must have spent, like 40 grand sort of thing on this car. Like every part was J's Racing catalogue. I sell J's Racing, so I know how expensive it all is. I was there in my EG6 with my own coilovers that I'd made on it, and T1Rs on some Ragers. So the tyres were pony, like the car wasn't set up at all, and I pinned him. I was on his bumper everywhere, and he was only pulling out away from me on the straight. But then, because my car was so much lighter than his, I could brake so much later, and I run spoon brakes as well. But at the time, I was running 282 Integra Type R brakes, so they're quite good still. And I could literally wait until like the last marker, and then I'd start braking.
That's crazy because Integras out of the box are
unbelievable cars. Unbelievable cars. And I was like, I think I love that feeling. I think early on, I soon realised that I'm not in competition with anyone. I don't care what anyone does. Like, if you go to me tomorrow, I'm going to cut the roof off my Integra and make it a drop top. I'd be like, dope, can I come and help? That sounds like fun. I wouldn't be like, you have to preserve it. It's an Integra Type R. I'm like, if you're having fun with your car, sound, can I be involved? That's the kind of people I gravitate to. Yeah. And I think because the Civic is just a laugh. That's all it is. It's like, I'm like, come on, little car. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do get it. And as much as I say I'm like power hungry and all that, like, there's a lot of truth in it. But also, like, you've probably seen from my channel, I've had some cars that, just very fast. But mate, you can keep it pinned every corner. And it just laughs, bro.
It's a buzz. Yeah, because you're like, holy shit, we're going flat out, but we're not going to die.
Yeah.
And that's like a really nice feeling. Like, whereas like in my BMW, if I'm in my M3, because I can't lie, I drive it like a dickhead. Like, Mate, you've heard it.
You've got to, though. You've got to.
You can't have a car like that and not. Like, and then you put stuff like Pilot Sport 4S's on it and like AP Racing brakes and the Öhlins coilovers, bro. And then you're like, oh shit, I got a serious whip now. And like,
that's the thing you put, bro. Like, let's put some respect to this. You pulled up in the M3 E92, yeah, and I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm an E92 M3 guy myself. But you got the APs on it, the big brakes. You got the Öhlins
R&T coilovers, yeah.
Bro, you're not messing around.
I'm not messing around with that car, no.
And M3 out of the box, E92.
Unbelievable.
They're a sick car.
Unbelievable car.
So God knows how yours is feeling right now. But in fact, this kind of moves me to my next my subject. Now, you're a very JDM, Jap kind of guy, but you've also got the Germans, right? And you've got a pinnacle German car in your collection, right?
Yeah.
Now,
it was my dream car, man.
And it's a dream car.
That was my dream car.
It's sick that you can appreciate both, because you got people out there that, bro, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's so blinded. And a lot of the time it is. What I find is it's because they ain't drove the other brand.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? They're just too fanboy of what they have. Do you know 100%. What I mean? But what's your thoughts on, like, if you had to pick one brand to go with, one country of origin?
Japan.
It would be Japan.
1,000,000%. That's a really good question. Why would it be Japan? Are we talking about owning the cars or going to live there?
All right, cool. So, all right, you can throw that in there too. So,
if I had to live anywhere, it'd be probably America.
Okay.
Just because you've got like every flavour of person there, every type of everything. But like, if you go cars,
let's take that out of the window, right?
So it's cars, it'd be Japanese
you can
cars.
only have German cars for the rest of your life, or you can only have Japanese.
I'd only have Japanese cars.
Why?
The tuning capabilities are different. So whereas like with German cars, yeah, a lot of like I know like Imran and that at Evolve do amazing work with the BMWs, and you can obviously do all that shit. I don't want to talk shit and look like an idiot, because I understand there are different.
It's your view, right?
But like with like the Japanese cars, like, I mean, look at how many GTRs are 1,000 brake. Yeah. Just like that. And then you've got people building 1,500 horsepower and 2,000 brake horsepower, or you could just buy a GTR and it's ridiculous. But I wouldn't have a GTR over an M3. Does that make? I'd have to. If I was to get a GTR, I'd get an R32.
But do you know what, you say that, but then a German person could come back with, all right, cool. Well, S55 engine, at the box.
And then I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to go, you look like you sell curtains. Do you know what I mean?
This is the thing.
Like,
and I mean, do you know, it's preference, because, like, I was thinking this through too, and I was like, Jap cars are sick build quality,
but they're a bit tacky.
Sick engineering.
Yeah, they're not great build quality. Yeah,
the build quality is where it lets it down. The German has got the build quality, the refinement.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, right, has Jap engines got more potential than German engines? If you're talking like pinnacle cars here, yeah, or like, let's say, like range topping cars, M cars and GTRs, things like that. I don't know if they do now. Maybe back in the day, maybe early 2000s and 90s, the Japs had that. But now I don't know.
No, I agree. But going back to your question, I think there's such a range that you can go for from Japan as well. And I understand there's a lot of ranges, but like for me, like the way that the Japanese do everything, and I love how sneaky they are, and like how they had that gentleman's agreement that all their hypercars were going to be 275 brake, and absolutely none of them stuck to it. Like, to me, that's just like my favorite thing ever, because that's just like, I just love it, and I just love the fact that they work together as well now. Toyota and BMW have made the Supra. That's a dope car. I drove Evolve's one.
So you rate them, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
You know what? I fuck with them.
I can't imagine what a standard one would be like, but because I got spoiled, I got to drive Imran straight away, which is like 550 brake, big turbo. It's like, fuck, this is ridiculous.
Likewise, I've only driven, a big turbo or hybrid turbo.
Yeah, whatever they are. Sorry, but like, but I don't know. If I don't know. Would I see, the thing is, I say, oh yeah, I'd only drive Japanese cars, but I drive a BMW X5 as my daily, and my weekend car's a BMW M3. So like, for me, they all serve a different purpose. Like, I think the Germans built fantastic all-rounders. Like, as testament to owning a couple of them. If I had to drive up to Scotland tomorrow, I'd probably jump in my X5 without even thinking about it. But if you're like, oh, we're going on a track day, do you want to come? And we're all taking our 700 brake horsepower BMWs or Seats or, all this stuff going on, I'd be like, yeah, cool. And I'd just turn up in my 160 brake Civic.
Yeah.
And then you lot would all be like, I don't know how you lot would feel about it, but like for me, I know I'd be going home at the end of the day knowing that the car that I've spent 8 years building in a shed has just ripped around a track, and I've had so much fun, and it handles amazing, and it puts up against so many other cars, and I've put it together, and every part that I've ever dreamed of owning from that. My growing up, dude, I used to live on the internet on forums of Hondas. So like that car to me is like the perfect Honda. I mean, I'd quite like a B18C out of an Integra Type R for it, just because it stays B series and you know it kind of all looks time period correct. But I think like for me, it's like if I'm gonna go like track car, I'd go Japanese. If I was gonna go daily car, I'd probably go German.
That's interesting. And I like that. And I think there's definitely something in that, because I think you're right. They both serve purposes. And again, before I asked you that question, or when I was thinking of this question, it was running through my mind. Like I've got so much love for Jap cars.
Yeah.
But before I had actually gave them time to, or like experienced them, like through having the channel, I would have said German like that.
Yeah.
Simply because it was all I was used to, and I knew that it made good power. But it's like anything. If you want something to back up your argument, you look on the internet.
You'll find
You'll find it.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for that. Do you know what I mean? You're never looking for the against argument. Like, you know, you just want people to back you up. But now having driven Jap cars, I'm in love. And especially going back to Hondas, like, you know, like had you told me in the height of when I wanted that, you know, that bossy car, bang for buck, someone said, bro, don't spend 10 grand on that Audi, spend 10 grand on that Honda. I'd have looked at them like, bro, are you right?
Are
like,
you dumb?
Are you mad? But now, bro, like, I think I'd spend 10 grand on the Honda.
Yeah.
Because the buzz it gives me, and going back to it, I've got 3 cars, one German, one Spanish. German, and a Honda. But the one that gives me the most thrills, by far, is the Honda.
Yeah.
And it's almost like my baby. But I don't think I could be without the German too. Like, you know what I mean?
Man, for a while I drove around in a Honda Legend. So I had, back in the day, like when I first started my YouTube all centered around the build of my Civic. So everyone kind of really got to know me as the Honda guy, which was cool. Like my business was all about posting about Hondas and stuff. Like I loved it. But I drove around in a 325 E92. Yeah. That's what I had. Yeah. That was my daily car. My dad is a massive Mercedes guy. Okay. Massive Mercedes guy. He's always had AMGs. He's got one of those stories as well of, you know, like football clubs or football managers later on in their career go, oh, I nearly signed Messi for Arsenal. You know, Wenger's like, yeah, we nearly got Mbappe at Arsenal and that. Like my dad almost bought a CLK 63 Black Edition when they were first out. Ooh. Like when they were like not affordable, but they were like at RRP, you know, like
a Black
the
Edition.
big
now,
wide arches.
Hundreds of thousands.
Now we are, not back then. Like not back then. Like, yeah. but now, like they are. And like he was like, yeah. And I remember him going to look at it. I think it must have been, maybe it was touching on 100K. I don't remember, but he was like wanting to treat himself. And he rang me up, and because I was all excited he was getting this car. I was like, this thing's got big fat arches on it, carbon bucket seats. This is going to be insane. And he rang me up. He was like, yeah, I'm not getting the car. I was like, why not? He was like, I don't like seats.
Don't like the seats?
He's an older boy. He was like, bucket seats aren't very comfortable. I'm not having that. I've bought a convertible instead. I was like,
what?
Yeah. I was like,
bro, do you see me? Yeah. If I like that car and the seats are uncomfortable, oh well, I'm gonna have a bad back.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean? I'm that of that breed as well. But my dad is like, to be fair, my dad, our customers are all around the country, Europe, and all that. So we have to go and see them. And I could understand him not wanting to.
When I'm older, I might look back on this comment thing.
I mean, I'm getting to that. Like my Olins, when I trick it out, I haven't adjusted them yet. So I just set them to the middle. I always, ever since I've been younger, I set them to soft for a little while, and then I put them in the middle. So before I put the interior back in, put them back to the middle. I was driving around, I was like, oh God.
Is it like that on the medium setting?
Man. Yeah, I was like, man, this is rough, dude. I was like, I think I might have put these up too much. So I was like, before I come up here, I was in the boot of my car trying to undo the thing so I could loosen them a bit. But I was just like, oh, whatever, man. I'll just live with it for a bit. But yeah, like that was like that story. But going back to it, man, like I don't know. I love cars. Right, I just love cars, man. Like I can get into it if like I love American stuff as well. Like I like old like Camaros and all that sort of stuff. Like I'm into that. My dad's got an Impala.
I've got some sick. In fact, I filmed a car the other day. I don't know if it's went live or it hasn't, but I filmed a Pontiac.
Okay.
Bloody, I forgot the name. Pontiac, a 1969 Pontiac Trans Am Ram Air 3. There's only one of them in the country.
Wow. Yeah. Look forward to that. If it's out already, I might have seen it.
Now.
But yeah, I like my American stuff. That's my dad's influence. He's a big into his American cars, man. Like I think that was always in the back of his head that he didn't want to buy a car that was just going to sit around and go up in value too much, because he'd always said he wanted an American classic. And a few years ago, he bought a 60 Impala. Fresh Texas import. It's fucking the worst car in the world.
Oh, really? It's the worst car. The Impala's the one that in America.
So
the
like,
lowriders.
The lowriders love
is
them,
that what
but
it is,
his is like the one before the rappers rap about.
Oh,
so they got
okay.
like this. They get the 6.4s, don't they? He got the 60 because he's he's an old white Jewish man. So, but he loves it. But it's like to drive like. It's just awful.
Yeah, they are.
Like, it's just fucking horrible.
It was
like,
so true about them not being able to take corners either.
Oh my god, take corners. It can barely on a straight line. It wobbles that much, and then you brake, and it just doesn't stop. But he's had a whole thing upgraded on it now, so it actually brakes now, which is which almost feels like a treat, having brakes. But yeah, I don't know, man. I like a bit of everything. I like 4x4s, like Toyota Land Cruisers and stuff. I'm well into that sort of stuff. Like I'm like dope. Like I look at Hilux Surfs all the time. I'm like, man, I'd love to build one of them. Like,
bro, that's like, you know, a Hilux is a good car when you see it in a third world country, bro. You know them, man, all the Taliban, all that, man, still using that, bro.
Yeah, there's a reason why they run the desert with them things.
Never been serviced.
Yeah, and they can send it over jumps.
We'll get a nice big rocket missile launcher on the back. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I think a good way to round that off is pretty much, you know, you'd be a fool to give it the big one about one car brand until you've experienced them all. Do you know what I mean? There's certain cars that are dog shit. We know that. But I feel like there's gems in all walks of life, not just Jap and German, but they are probably at the forefront of, you know, making the best cars in the world right now.
Definitely. And for me, because I like modifying cars, I look at like what are the tuning options. You know, like what's the tuning option?
Straight away.
When it comes to German cars, bang for buck, they're the easiest ones to get. Yeah, you can go to a mapper and get them to put your car up to like what, 500 brake for like 300 quid. Dude, to get to 100 horsepower in a Honda, you're spending like £10,000. And yet then like I remember finding that out, I was like, what is the hang on, wait, you've just paid for a map and you've got all this power.
It's crazy.
So I'm like, yo, I'm in the wrong thing here.
But with that, yeah, that's where you lose the what's the word? The driver connection. So look, basically, if you're able to just spend, you know, I don't know, let's say £300 and get 70 brake horsepower, yeah. Where's the journey in that? You know, you've like when you're spending a little like £1,000 here, like £500 here, this, that, the other to get it to the power. Each time you're seeing a slight.
But I think that's the world we live in, Jamie. I think that's the world we live in now, and I it's like with me because of my content being how it is, like with builds and stuff. Everyone expects you to be able to do it in 10 minutes. And then you're on to your next car. For me, some of these cars I plan on keeping my whole life. Yeah. So I'm like, well, there's no point of rushing it. Like I can save up and I can get the Olins and the AP Racings because that car, to me, unless unless it gets stolen or I crash it, I'm never gonna. I think I'd probably replace it with another M3 because I love them.
In that respect, we're kind of a little bit different. Do you know what? Right. So I'm the kind of guy, and I guarantee there's so many other people that actually share this, and probably yourself, right? There's a car you want so bad.
Oh yeah.
When you get it, that first week you got it, yeah. I'm never selling this.
Yeah.
Bro, this car can be with me forever. 3 months in, you're like, yeah, I like this car, you know, but you know, my next car could be this, that, the other. 6 months in now, I'm like, fuck, I've only had this car for 6 months. I want something. So that's me, like, you know what I mean?
See, I used to be able to be like that, but the cars I like now are all worth £4 million. So I used to like switch, and I'll be honest, what I normally do is I normally get the one car I keep, and then I buy other cars around that. So I budget myself in. And like for a little while ago, I used to have my EG6, an EK9, and a DC5. I had all 3 cars. Nice. But this was when they weren't. This was before all of a sudden the market exploded for them, and like it was cool to have them. And now you can't get a clean EK9 for under what, £15,000? To me, that's a £5,000 car, dude. Yeah. And I'm like, oh god, for 15 grand, I'd rather literally buy a house. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather go and buy a rental property. I can go get a rental property for that sort of money. I'm like, do I look at my future now instead of having 18 cars that I'm only going to use once a year? Like, I can probably go, maybe I need to start investing. And I've started to look at that, like coin, you know, the
Bitcoin and all that.
I won't touch Bitcoin because it's too expensive, but I like dabbling in the little ones. I'm like, I'll put 100 into that one in case it goes big one day. And I just forget about it. I'm just like, that goes over there. And like, I bought into that AMC when Wall Street Bets on Reddit told me to, and now I've lost loads of money on that. Well, fuck, it is what it is. Mate. Risk and reward, it is what it is. So.
But yeah, no, that's really interesting. So I also wanted to move on to, in fact, it meshes quite well back to what you were saying about, like, you know, you feel that your YouTube channel hasn't moved much or whatever.
Especially in recent times.
Right? And it's just I just wanted your perception of it because like I have my own perception of it. But why did you get into YouTube? Is like it's my sub question to get into where I want to get.
I got into YouTube real early, but like the thing for me is I've always chased the pound. So with 621, when I started doing YouTube, it was literally just so we could make our own Jackass show. Because this was when vlogging was not a thing, man.
Okay.
A vlog didn't even have a name. It wasn't like, we're going to make a vlog. It was just like
you're just filming.
Yeah, so I'm going to name drop, but I'm really good friends with a guy called Sam Pilgrim. He's a mountain biker, like fully like professional. He's like got millions of subscribers on YouTube. I've known him my whole adult life, and you know when you like, he's really successful. He used to like be world champion at freestyle mountain biking and that, and he got sponsored by GoPro, dude. Wow. And when he got the GoPro deal, it makes you all kind of take a bit of notice. And I was like, I'm gonna get me one of them GoPros. You know what I mean? Like, and I remember putting a tweet out years ago going, just ordered a GoPro. I'm gonna just film my whole life. And he was like, yeah, fucking do it. And at the time, I just got into what was probably quite a very, very toxic relationship, and trying to juggle everything just didn't work, because I was trying to chase the money, and I was like, fuck YouTube, like it's not making me any money, because this was before the partner program and everything. And then the partner program came about, and I got to apply for it, and I got it because I had enough subs and all this sort of stuff.
When it first came out, right? Because this like I missed the boat on the first drop.
Yeah.
Was people making a lot of money?
So you had like 40, I think it was 40 people. Like they hand selected 40 big creators on the website, and they were given a lot of money. Great. But then everybody else was making like dribs and drabs. Okay. It was like, it was almost very similar to what it is now. Like if you have a big channel and get big views, you make a lot of money. If you have a big channel and you don't get big views, you don't make a lot of money. Like if you have a medium-sized channel, you make medium amount of money. It's that kind of thing. Yeah. I actually now make more off of like advertising in the video than I do YouTube.
Of course, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's 100% a big part of my revenue too.
Yeah, and I always feel a little bit bad, because I'm like, I know these guys haven't tuned in to watch an advert, but for me to be able to progress doing the content I want...
This is another thing I discussed with TR Hamza.
Yeah, I did see the podcast.
We're not trying to take the piss out of people, when like people are like, oh, it's all ads, is this, that, the other. It's like guys, we need to be able to get
free content
to do what we want to, like what we're doing, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you want the free content, well, let us make a little bit of money on the side, because these cameras are fucking expensive.
We're not doing that 25 grand JW.
Don't start me on that. I tell you what though, the figure on that, just quickly touch on the JWW, because I did my own podcast all about that.
No way.
Yeah, I went in on him a little bit. Wow. I didn't mean to. I filmed it twice, because the first time I thought, I've gone right for this guy's juggler here. So I filmed it again after listening to the Collecting Cars podcast. And I tell you what, the 25 grand thing doesn't bother me, because you'll know, in this world, some big money gets thrown around, dude. I did one deal once, and it was a massive company. Like when I found out who it was, I let them suggest me the price. So normally I've got my set figure. It isn't much. I'm not greedy. It's a couple £100 like for an ad spot. They get their shout out, maybe sell some bits, sound. Well, this company come to me and were like, hi, would you like to do a video? And I was like, yeah. They were like, what rates do you want? And I was like, what rates do you offer? Mate, they told me the amount of money, how much they were going to pay me. And I went into my little sister and I went, can you read this email?
Yeah, is it right?
I was like, that says what it says, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. Let's just say I had an extra 0 on the end of it that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
And I did the video and they paid me. Yep. And I don't think they were very happy with what they got in return, but it's tough shit.
But that's up to them. And that's, you've done, you've fulfilled your part of the, but this is the thing, going back to it, there's a lot of 25 grand, right? In the grand scheme of things. There's not a lot of money.
Not to some of these companies, but
it was just shocking in how it was implemented.
And I didn't like, the only thing about that whole deal I didn't like was that he wanted a percentage of sales of the coilovers afterwards. And I was like, so you're already trying to kick this company in the nuts for 25 grand, and now you're going, all the profit you would make, I want half of that as well. I'm like, fuck off, mate. You're not that important. Do you know, really calm down.
I went into it quite blindly when I asked about it. I spoke to it with TR Hamza, because I'd since seen that I didn't really know how much TR Yaris's there were out there, and how much of those were actually coming to England.
There's not a huge amount.
Do you know, there's not a huge amount. So my mathematics, which were terrible last time, were way out. Like, but I understand.
That whole deal doesn't bother me. I actually quite like JWW. I've never met him. Like, I've only met, out of the supercar YouTubers, I've met Paul Wallace and Seb Delaney. They're like the two that I've met. I've never met any of the others. And Paul Wallace, what a fucking guy.
Is he cool? Yeah.
Sound as fucking...
Paul, if you're watching this, come see me, man.
Yeah, man. Paul, worth a trip to... Mate, he's quite local, I think, mate. He's fucking... Like, he wanted for a little while. I think he was, like, in between car stuff, so he needed something to fill a void. But he was like, I'm going to be a professional drifter. And
What, that's what Paul Wallace was going to do? Boy, that's well left field for him, isn't it?
I gave him... Oh, I feel like an arsehole. So, basically, he put on Twitter... like, oh, maybe I should build a drift Mustang, and I quoted it and I put, finally something on your channel worth worth me having a look at, or like finally something worth watching, because all he ever does is like blow up other people's, you know, like talks about how famous people's cars, like he's like in with like famous people, and it was like, I was like, I'm not interested in that. And then he was like drifting, I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested now. Let's finally got something to watch on your YouTube channel or something like that. And he DM'd me and he was like, yo man, like you seem like a drifter, like if you can help me out. And then I instantly felt bad, because I was like, oh man, I guess I kind of went a bit too savage straight away, and I was like, fuck, like, I'm not an asshole, like, but I'm a bit of a troll. I grew up on Xbox chat, mate. Do you know what I mean? I grew up in Call of Duty, Modern Warfare lobbies, bro. Like, you get shaped a certain way. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I feel like kids nowadays should just be forced onto that. There you go. Here's some of the horriblest people in the world that are all going to tell you to kill yourself. You're not going to kill yourself. Here's the real world. You know, like, you know, instead of like let's complain about everything and try and cancel culture everyone. Let's like chuck him in the deep end and be like, okay, it's not really that bad in the real world, you know? But yeah, he was a lovely man. And like, we actually managed to, because I used his name and also another YouTuber, I used their name a little bit, but I managed to get Driftland for us for a couple of days. And it was fucking sick. Like we had 2 days of free drifting. It was like, this is the tits. Like, sick. And so he was lovely. Seb Delaney was lovely. But you know, at the supercar stuff, that's the only guys I know from that. Sorry, I can't remember where I'm going, dude. I should
bro,
write this
do you know
down.
what? I think we have went off on so many tangents.
Right,
but do you know what? Who cares? It's conversation.
It's
conversation. But do you know what, right? So I'll get back to where I kind of wanted to, and I think because of time.
Oh yeah, mate, we're blitzing through this.
We'll wrap it up after this. But you know, like I asked you why you started, and then I wanted to know.
Started YouTube, yeah.
What was at the time when you started the end goal?
Oh, there wasn't one.
What was it?
There wasn't
one.
No, it was just for me to promote my brand a little bit.
Really?
It was a bit of fun, man. It was like, let's make our own Jackass show, you know? You asked me where I think it was going off. So basically, I can finish up on that if you want. I feel like because we've had this weird year of nothing for someone like me where my content's a bit scattered. I understand I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, but that's just how I am. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's hard for me to like be like, right, I'm going to treat it like a business. Because I like to fuck it like, and one of my uploads might be up now, it might not be, but I was just like at work the other day. I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot to do a video for a sponsor. I completely forgot. They were like, "Yo, we've got that video ready for us," and I was like, "Fuck, shit." And through the first lockdown, I started doing story times where I just stand in front of a camera and I kind of tell a story, but in a jokey way that hopefully people will be engaged with. And they actually did really well on my channel. They were like the most viewed stuff on my channel, apart from a couple of car features throughout lockdown. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to do one of them. And I think because I don't, like, you offer a product to people, you're like, look, we do badass car reviews, and then all my cars are mad power. This is what it's all about. Whereas me, I'm like, so I've got this ridiculously JDM Civic and a Peugeot 405 Estate. And then I'm going to go do a car review on some girl's car. And then I'm going to drive this car at a dealership. And then I'm going to do a kind of comedy video, you know? So like, I kind of use my YouTube channel like a diary, and like it's been amazing, like the journey I've had with it. I've been very, very lucky. I still love it as much as I did the first time I picked up a camera to turning it on now. Like I still love it, but I would just like to going forward get some consistency with uploads and kind of like the story that I'm telling and what I'm wanting to show people.
Yeah, consistency is key in this game.
Yeah,
100%.
And kind of just get my message across that you can have fun with anything. You know, and like once we can do like road trips and drifting again, like I'll be set. Like, because I know it's a niche. I know I'm never going to be getting like Adam LZ views because I live on a little island. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like I don't mind getting like the smaller views because as long as I'm showing people that these Silvias are worth like, apparently I don't agree, apparently worth like £25,000 to £30,000 now. They're not. If you're paying that money for a Silvia, you're off your tits, mate. Yeah. Go get an M4. I keep saying this to people. Like, you want a fast rear-wheel drive car, just go buy an M4. Like,
it's true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and everyone's like, they're not special. I'm like, well, let's just see in 10 years if you think they're not as special, you know? Because everyone devalues cars until they're old, and then everyone's like, yo, I want one of them now. Exactly. I'm like, just appreciate the good shit that's in front of you now. Do you know what I mean?
No, I respect
so I think sometimes I get down on YouTube a little bit. Like, one of my recent videos is probably one of the best ones I've made. I did a review on an Alpina.
You know what? I saw that on your. That's like one of the most recent
ones that's up at the moment, and the video bombed, man. Like it did like 2,800 views in like a week, and I was like, man, why has that not hit the marker? But I also understand that in like a year, I could look back at that video and it might have 50,000 views because that's been like one that people have been searching Alpina for.
Of course.
So I just kind of need to. I think I need to build a better bond with my audience that watch all my stuff, so they're ready for whatever the next upload is. So they won't go, I'll skip this one.
Yeah.
You know, because some videos do really well. I'm really excited about the next few videos I've got to upload. I think there's one gone live while we've been sat here.
Really?
My
Like
M3, yeah. So that one I'm looking forward to. I've done another one of me working on. Oh, I've got an E36 as well. Sorry, I completely forgot to say.
Just casually got E36.
Yeah, I didn't pay anything for that one.
Drift car too? Or?
Drift car as well. Yeah, that one's a proper shagger of a drift car, mate. Like that one is gonna be used and abused, and the oil's never gonna get changed in that thing. I'm gonna fuck that up a wall. Like I'm fully ready to put that on its roof. Like I don't care. Like that to me, I paid nothing. Basically, I got a E21. I've got so many stories. We haven't even touched on the Kanjo stuff, man.
Do you know what? I feel like I could sit here and speak to you for another 2 hours.
Easy.
Just not even have a break. You know what I mean? Like,
Easy,
and that's how I know you're a proper car guy and a man after my own heart. In fact, you're more car guy than I am car guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Come on. But no, I've got this E36. So I had an E21. I bought it off a dead guy because...
How does that work?
So my friend, like, at the time, he, like, distributed dead people's estates when they didn't have anyone to leave stuff to. And he put a picture in our group chat that I was in. And he was like, look at this rusty bag of shit I've got to get rid of. And I saw the number plate on it. And I was like, how much do you want?
What's the number plate?
The number plate was J. I don't know for sure. It was three letters and 2 numbers.
Okay.
And I was like, how much do you want for the car? And he was like, oh, we've had an offer of $350. I went, I'm going to go $375 and I'll go up £25 every time that guy goes up.
No way.
I was like, just put £25 on top. Just tell him he's not winning this fucking car.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, all right, what the fuck do you want, this rusty bag of shit? I was like, I'll tell you once it's in my name. I was like, I'm not fucking saying a word. Got the car home, literally went and picked it up, and the neighbours come out thinking we were nicking it, because obviously the guy was dead, and there's just 2 scallywags and snapbacks running around his car. And pushed it up onto the trailer, and got it home. Luckily, it had been on the road within the last 10 years, so I could take the number plate straight off, sold it that same day for £3,500 to a reg plate company. Yeah, and and then I put the car for sale on Facebook for like, I don't know, I think I put it up for like 1,500 quid, because I was like, if I get off at 100 quid, I'm in profit. I don't give a shit. I'm in massive profit. This is jokes. And some guy just messaged me and he was like, I've got an E36 without a logbook if you want it. And I was like, what, straight swap? And he was like, yeah. I was like, what engine's in it? He said it was a 325, but recently on my TikTok, I said it was a 325 because I haven't looked, dude. I hadn't opened the bonnet. The first time I opened the bonnet on the car, I was there. I was like, oh. And I opened the bonnet. I was like, yeah, 325 6-pot. It's not. It's a 323, I think. But I don't care.
It's the same.
It cost me nothing.
Yeah.
And all these people, I understand that people get super passionate about that one type of car, but mate, the amount of people that were like, hey, you're a fucking idiot. I was like, all right. So I'm actually going to film a TikTok probably later today of me, like, I can say this because it'll be up by the time, but I'm basically going to be like, oh, sorry, I got the engine wrong in my E36, so I'm just going to go home in my 320D now and roar off in the M3. Do you know what I mean? Just to dick around, because I've only just got into this TikTok stuff, man, and it's
TikTok's
like,
sick, you know. I'm on TikTok too. Go follow me,
I'll
man.
have to follow you. I don't follow you yet on there.
Follow.
TikTok is like, to me, it's like, all of a sudden, all the social media is coming together and be like, hey, look, you can have your thing and you can be really creative and you can dick around. And girls just get naked on there.
Boobies.
It's so wild.
If you're not on TikTok and you think it's a kid's thing, right?
Bro.
I've got a missus, so I can't say too much. Obviously,
I've not got a missus. Get on TikTok.
Explain it to them.
Because there are these challenges that all these, well, they're like OnlyFans girls initially seems to start it, and then normal girls join in.
Yeah.
And it's fucking dope.
Listen, it's a good time for everyone. Yeah?
Like right now is a good time in the history of the world, man. There's not really much like going, you know, everyone's like, oh, I don't want a vaccine passport. Take the vaccine passport and shut up. We've got it good. Shut up before they find out about TikTok and see what's going on in there, because they will shut that shit down. So like we can have a really good, you can have a really good time on there. And I think that I'm going to try and do some like comedy skit type things. I've done one with a 10 mil. You need to look at it and see if you laugh, because I've done like, I'm going to try and do like a bit of cringe comedy on there, because that seems to be what fucking works, mate. Cringe, just the cringiest thing you can think of. Do it, and then people will be like, haha, this is great. All right, is it? All right, get them numbers up, baby, so I can start selling ad space on here too. Man's got a drift car he needs to finish.
and about 8 others too.
Oh, no, just the drift car for now. Just the drift car. It's all I care about. But it's going to a very reputable garage soon, and when that's done, I don't know. Oh, dude, I would love to let you have a go, but I'm so scared of letting other people have a go.
Don't let me have a go in your drift car.
I'll take you out in it, though.
I'm going to stack it, bro.
Do you ever allow videos, like features, where you don't drive the car?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right,
let's
cool.
do that.
If you're up for
That's
doing
another
that,
thing. Guys, you got something crazy that you don't want me driving, I'm up for it,
It's just like, the thing is, man, this car is going to be like, you know, like, I understand you do a lot of big power, like, BMWs. I know you've done the big bad jet stuff as well, but like, this car is going to have no traction control, no ABS, but it's going to have, I mean, anywhere between 450 and 500 like horse at the wheel. Like,
100%, I'd love that. And in fact, this is another thing that I want to do. We said at the beginning off camera, I want to connect with so many other YouTubers.
Yeah, man.
And this is a good place to do it. We've sat down, we've kicked it, bro.
Sick,
You're
man.
a cool guy. And you know what I mean? As I say, a man after my own heart. So 100% we're going to collab,
100%.
whether it be you taking me out in your S15
Absolutely.
or you coming and ragging my bloody Integra.
Yeah.
Let's make it
Let's
happen.
do it, man. Because I think your audience will love my Nissan. It's proper Fast and the Furious looking. Like, it's got blue fucking headlights on it, for fuck's sake. Come on, man. I spent a lot of money on them lenses. But it was worth it because I got the last set in the UK and then the company stopped bringing them in. So I was like, fuck yeah. It was like one of those moments. I was like, yes, I know I can sell these for a fortune. No, I'm not going to sell them though. I've got like, that car is like, I've done the thing I always do where I go, right, I'm not going to spend much money on this. I'm just going to use it as a drift car. And then like, we're talking like I could have probably... I mean, I know I could have bought my M3 and my X5 again and had change left over for what this owes me right now without an engine sat in it.
Wow.
Yeah, so this drift car is going to be a serious bit of kit. I'm not going to tell on the camera. I've told you off camera, but like, we've got some naughty stuff going on that, man. And like,
well, this is in fact, anyone who's not following you, in fact, we wrap it up on this.
Yeah.
Bro, like, in fact, you'd be silly if you're not. Listen to his cars, listen to the story. Like, you know what I mean? Tell them where you can be found, also your business, bro. Give it.
Cool. Okay,
plug.
so my name across everything is just Adam Ivell. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, apart from on Twitch. I stream. So Monday and Thursdays are my day, my creative day. So I normally upload on YouTube Monday and Thursday. And then Monday and Thursday nights, I go on Twitch and do a live stream. And we play a bit of GTA, some car games, Car X drift racing. Or sometimes I just sit there and chat. Like last week I showed off my Hot Wheels collection, which was the nerdiest thing I've ever done online, by the way. And I'm never doing it again. So that was your one time for that. I like geeked out hard. And that was that. We've done that now. I've definitely overexposed myself a bit too much there. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok is all Adam Ivell. 621.com is my brand, clothing line, lifestyle clothing line and all that sort of stuff. And also, obviously, YouTube is like a big thing for me. I'd love to have some more followers on there that kind of want to have a look at what I'm doing and have a laugh. Because that's what I'm about, man. Like, if you come down and we do a video on your Integra, it'll be a lot about the car, but it'll be mainly about just having a fucking laugh, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just all about causing chaos, being naughty and, you know, trying to get away with it. Because if you get away with stuff, you've not done anything wrong.
I think so.
As long as you don't get caught.
Sounds good to me.
As long as you don't get caught.
Wicked. Adam, listen, mate, you're a legend.
No, thank you for having me on, man. I really genuinely, like, super appreciate it. And thank you guys for, man, we've been talking like an hour and a half, bro.
They're still here. They're still here.
I hope so, man. Like, for you, I hope, man, because I hope I haven't let you down on this one.
Listen,
so
it's been a good conversation. It's been good to get to know you. So
cool.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I've got a story. If you ever want me back on, I'll save the Kanjo racing story. I am the first white man to ever go Kanjo racing. So I'll save that. Save that for you.
Part
guys.
2.
Let's hope.
Adam, it's been a pleasure.
Epic, man. Thank you.
Sick.
Thank you, dude.
Legend.
All right,
Bro,
yeah.
that is fucking sick.